Let's talk about Cody blasting The Rock. He blast him.
Hot heat.
Blast him. There's no shooting hard here. So anyways, during an interview with Alex McCarthy, excuse me, Cody Rhodes was asked about his thoughts on the Bloodline story, and he used that question as an opportunity to mention that in his mind, the main event stories being told on the WWE main roster right now would lead to a better WrestleMania main event than Roman Reigns versus The Rock. Here's what he said. It's a lot, so I'll try to get through this as quickly as I can. Quote, "I love that you bring it up that these stories are running parallel," talking about his own, and then the Bloodline Sami Zayn stuff.
Yep.
I think sometimes wrestling fans think it's got to be one or it's got to be the other, whereas I subscribe, and I'm not in charge, I subscribe to give them everything. That's where it really takes smart planners and creative individuals on how you layer it, but it's very important. And this is something I learned when I was away, is that if someone's doing great and they're entertaining and help them move the ship forward, and I would say Seth Rollins, another example on Raw, he was another when I was gone who's really changed and continued to carry Ronda's back. I was fully expecting these things to converge. I'm still expecting them to converge just because we have these wonderful options. With all the respect in the world to one of the GOATs, The Rock, it looks like the options we have here within the roster are even better because the stories that are happening. One story about finishing something that started in 1978, 7 years before I was born. Another story of really the tragedy of being welcomed into the bloodline. And then you saw, then what you saw unfolds. I think with the amount of time between now and WrestleMania, it's important to keep my eyes squarely fixed on WrestleMania, squarely wrestling for the WWE Undisputed Championship. And as you hinted, that may not be against Roman Reigns. Now, I don't know if anyone can beat Roman Reigns. I truly don't. But for me, it's about picking up the chip. I love the melodrama. I love the heaviness in these stories that develop in our industry. But I am a very simple man who's looking for a belt. I'm looking for a championship title belt, the most important one in our world, the biggest in all, not just in WWE bubble, but in all the bubbles. And to be the first to say, as a Rhodes, I did it. And it wasn't Dusty Rhodes, and it wasn't Dustin Rhodes. It was Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, man. I agree 100%. You know, sell that story of Roman Reigns and the bloodline and Solo Sequoia and all that stuff. And you're good. And here's the thing, you know, I've seen a lot, and I know you have too, a lot of discourse about, you know, oh, Sammy. Man, I tell you, the way they have told this story so far, building to the first confrontation between Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes, number one, is going to be, I think, pretty special because they haven't really been face-to-face so far on the road to WrestleMania. Elimination Chamber, when Jay probably breaks all of our hearts and turns on Sammy, make sure screw Sammy out of the title. I think the heat that's going to generate is going to make people want to see Owens and Zayn in that story against the Usos at WrestleMania.
Yeah, well, especially if Jay turning on Sammy coincides with Kevin Owens coming out and making the save.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You know, because then it's all there. It's all laid out in front of us, like what the match is going to be at that point. And having Sammy and Kevin Owens kind of start the reconciliation happening in Montreal, their hometown. You know what they could do. You know, and I just thought about this. I'm just throwing it out there because we're on the road to WrestleMania. So, and again, we're just getting a fantasy book, and here's what we do: we're nerds. But yeah, you have Jay turn on Sammy. Sammy obviously lose. You know, he screws him out of the title, right? Yeah. So they're putting boots to Sammy. Kevin Owens comes out and makes a save, but the bloodline still has numbers. And then Cody comes out. That's how you insert Cody into it. You know, Cody comes out, he confronts Roman, and then you got that. You know, he's sort of looped into it, and then you kind of rope him in, and you have him and Roman, and then Sammy and Kevin and the Usos. I think people would buy into that if they just see it. You know, I think by the time Elimination Chamber is said and done, people are going to be wanting the matches that WWE wants them to have just by virtue of good storytelling. That's what we've had so far. Yeah, no, it's entirely possible. You know,
and they're in Canada too. What if Cody comes out with all just draped in maple leaves?
Oh, that'd be something else. Brings Lance Storm with him.
Oh man, he'll be Canada's favorite
Bret
son.
Hart too.
Bret Hart, yeah. Oh, bring them all.
Yeah.
Other people,
you know, like
the
Rock versus Roman match is the marquee match. That's the one that'll grab the mainstream headlines, and it'd be a good win for Roman. The match itself, I don't think there'd be a ton of intrigue in it because Roman's going to win that one.
Yeah, right.
And while I'm 75% sure Cody's going to beat Roman, are they going to throw a couple speed bumps in Cody's way before he gets his hands on those titles? I don't know.
Yeah. Dude, I'm not 60%, to be honest with you. I don't know. They're not going to have Raw. I think I think it should be Cody. I think this story is too good. All the history behind it. I think it totally should be Cody Rhodes. You want to get it. You want to get those titles on him now before he cuts some promo that the crowd starts booing him for it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's entirely possible.
But yeah, I don't know, man. I think you loop Cody into it. And people are going to be on board with Cody versus Roman. I think that they can steer the people in the right direction. They've been able to. I mean, you look at what happened at the end of SmackDown. I thought it was pretty great with Roman and his shit talking to Sammy. I thought that was really good stuff. And Sammy being geeked out for Elimination Chamber. But there's a lot more to this story to be told.
Oh yeah.
And I think the people are going to be. I think they're going to be in on it. And it's smart for Cody to bring up, the elephant in the room, The Rock. Because he's right. And what have we said? What did we say coming out of the Rumble? They're rolling with the roster they have and the stories they have to tell. And I think that's a really smart move.
It is. It seems like so far, not that Triple H is against the idea of using legends and part-timers on the show, especially the major shows. But they're not the focus, especially in title programs.
Yeah.
And so you have who's on the roster now involved in your marquee programs that elevates those roster members,
Yeah.
Especially if that coincides with telling good, interesting stories. It gets people talking. I mean, I feel like, yeah, if The Rock came back, people will talk about it from now to WrestleMania, but the day after WrestleMania, like that conversation is kind of over.
Yeah, right.
So The Rock's done.
Yeah, sure.
Whereas if Cody beats Roman at Mania, well, what's next? What's going to happen with Roman now?
Yeah.
There's more story to unfold, I feel like, from that point on. They're going to keep people talking as opposed to, that was pretty cool seeing The Rock there. Yeah, that was neat.
Yeah, no, I know.
It,
I agree with you. And, the whole time you're just wondering, okay, can he still go? Like, is he going to try to put himself over all the storylines that are going on? You're just sort of putting him in there. And it might just sort of stick out. And I understand that there's plenty of story to be told there from a bloodline perspective and The Rock and all that. But I don't know, man. I think that Cody's right. Everything that got going on right now was so good that, why mess with it? You roll with that for WrestleMania. This is going to be probably, I don't know, it's probably already financially the biggest WrestleMania they've done. I mean, I'm pretty sure I don't know if they've actually sold out everything already, but
I mean, the building is pretty full pretty quick when tickets went on sale.
With how expensive those tickets are, it damn well better be one of the biggest gates in history.
You got that right.
Oh, man.